Okay, the monitor model. The main characteristics, the first is the language acquisition is different from language learning, and the language acquisition is the only way proficiency in a second language occurs. The second is the grammatical structures are acquired in predictable order. The number three is the people acquire the language better from the message that are slightly beyond their current proficiency. The number four is the conscious learning occurs operates only as a monitor or editor that reviewer faces the result of what has been acquired. The number five is the emotional state of the student can act as a filter to prevent or block the information necessary for language acquisition. The similarities, the others theories. The first is the error analysis. In both theories, the which mistakes are has been learned can be corrected, and it's a part of a positive a process of the learning of acquiring a language. The
On the other hand, we have the difference that are error analysis. It focuses on the identification and analysis of error made by language learners, and it understands the understanding causes of errors. A contrastive analysis compared to or model language examines the features, structures, and linguistic systems of two languages. And universal grammar, it explains how language acquisition is possible, postulates the existence of universal linguistic constraints and principles.
Good evening, teacher and classmates. In error analysis, we can see below the characteristics and similarities. Among the characteristics, we can say the following: a compilation of the same of the student language, or error in the identification, a description and classification of errors, explanation of errors, evaluation and correct of errors, error as visible proof, teaching strategy to correct student error. Um, all the characteristics are the very important for a good error analysis. All the information probing depending on the teacher with the student. Um, okay. In the similarities, we have the following: um, conventional distraction between error and mistake, accidental or international, first language or native language, positive transfer or negative transfer, language prono- chronological, morphologic, and systematic. Syntax. Sorry. I think a conventional distinction between error and mistake. The mistake is usually made due to the lack of knowledge of the knowledge roles, and cannot be correct by itself, um, because the student does not uh, or recognize the problem, and the mistake is usually accident and can be corrected by if and you know that it is if everything has a sequencing or motivate and result.
In this part, we have a difference of monitor model that focus on the process of second language acquisition and the model propose the acquisition system and the monitoring system. Contrastive analysis compared two or more languages examines the future structures and linguistic systems of two languages. And universal grammar, it explains how language acquisition is possible the existence of universal linguistic constraints and principles.
Contrastive analysis involves comparing and contrasting two or more elements, such as different languages or language acquisition approaches, to highlight their difference. It aims to identify the distinct features and patterns in each element under analysis. This analysis helps in understanding the similarities and differences between languages, as well as the challenges learners might face when acquiring a new language. Contrastive analysis focuses on highlight the difference between two elements, such as different approaches to language acquisition, while the monitor model focuses on the process of monitoring and correcting speech errors. Error analysis focuses on identifying and correcting specific errors in language use. Universal grammar aims to identify the common characteristics of all human languages.
The difference monitor model focuses on the process of second language acquisition, the model process, the acquisition system, and the monitoring system. Error analysis, it focuses on the identification and analysis of error made by language learner and it understands the understandable causes of errors. And universal grammar, it explains how language acquisition is possible, postulates the existence of universal linguistic constraints and principles.
Characteristic. The main characteristic of universal grammar is that languages have the same set of categories and relationships and that to communicate through the language speaker may infinite use infinite means. And people also develop communication skills in synaptic way and with social and cognitive development. They learn from the environment. However, communication has to be based on rules, syntax, and structure defined within the grammar, so that express the is understood. Similarities. The similarities we found with the other theories are model monitor. Communication is innate, is natural way. The learning implicatory through coexistence. Construct analysis. Communication is basic, as well as phonetics and vocabulary are natural expression. And through conversation on imitation. And finally, error analysis. Will they imitate words, semantic or syntax error are connected and the grammar rules they now are applied.
Difference. Monitor model focus on the process of second language acquisition, the model purpose, the acquisition system, and the monitoring system. Error analysis it focuses on the identification and analysis of error made by language learners, and it understands the understandable causes of errors. And contrastive analysis compares formal language and examines the future structures and linguistic system of the two languages.